Is the Dorian Finney-Smith trade too little, too late for the Lakers? Like, subscribe, and let's find out. We all know the story. It's ancient history at this point. In 2020, the Lakers had the proven formula to win a title around LeBron and Anthony Davis. Two stars and a roster full of two-way talent. Then, after a disappointing injury to AD first-round exit the following year, they blew the whole thing up for Russell Westbrook. In search of that third star to take some of the creation burden off of LeBron. Well, that was a disaster, and they've needed competent 3-and-D play since that trade happened, both when they had Westbrook and after they got rid of him. But with their limited resources and exceptions each year, they've continued to prioritize someone who can take that creation pressure off of LeBron, and none of them have worked. Things like a mid-level exception signing of Kendrick Nunn, trading for D'Angelo Russell, who was better than he's ever going to get credit for, but clearly not the answer. Drafting Jalen Hood-Schifino, a mid-level exception signing of Gabe Vincent. Not to mention things like letting Alex Caruso walk instead of paying him, treating Austin Reeves like a bona fide untouchable third star, and year in and year out amassing a collection of just one-way players. Now, with Dorian Finney-Smith, they made the trade they should have made years ago. And yet, it might be too late. LeBron James is 40 years old, and Kirk Skolberry wrote a really great article for The Ringer that laid out how Father Time is starting to catch up to him. So rather than seeming like I've taken credit for all of his research, I'll just share some of the cliff notes and add a few numbers in of my own and link the article in the description. Let's start with the on-off numbers suggesting that the Lakers are better when LeBron James sits. For the first time in his career, over 20 plus years, his team's net rating is lower when LeBron is on the floor than when he's off the floor. Yet, he's playing over 35 minutes a game. For context, that's more than Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, who play for Tibbs on a Knicks team that barely goes 8 deep and plays guys like Mikal Bridges almost 40 minutes a night. That's an awfully heavy load on a 40-year-old, especially when you're losing those minutes. And part of the problem on offense, anyways, is that he's no longer the transition threat that he used to be. This is a problem because the primary way the Lakers have put points on the board over the past few seasons has been in transition. They were a top 10 in the league transition team in the past 2 years, and without that, this offense has been middle of the pack this year and bottom 6 in December. And you see this trend as LeBron has started shooting more threes. He actually started several years ago, and this is fairly obvious. Not only is the league shooting a lot more threes as a whole, and thus many star players are increasing their three-point volume, and after shooting 41% last year and starting this season on a tear, it seemed like an evolution of his game more than a sign of aging. But the accuracy is starting to come back down to earth at about 36% for this year, and the volume really hasn't. He's still shooting about as many threes as he has since he became a Laker. What is coming down is his attempts at the rim. At 25% of his shots, it's the lowest of his career. See, the fact is, it's simply a less physically exhausting shot for LeBron to just take a three. He used to be able to put his head down, get to the rim and finish, or get fouled, or often both at the same time at any time he wanted or at any time that he needed to. The energy that it takes to do that is just way more intensive than settling for a long jumper. He has to pick his spots, and they're fewer and further between in year 22 than they ever have been. I think Goldsberry put it really well when he said that there's a sense of occasionality with LeBron now that never existed before. We saw it on Christmas. He can still be the best player on the floor in the best basketball league in the entire world, but he can't do it every night anymore. He's no longer a top 5 or a top 10 offense just all by himself, which seems silly to have to say out loud. He's 40. He needs help, creation help, for the first time ever. And the Lakers go out and get him a 3-and-D wing that he needed 3 years ago. So if you're a Lakers fan, you're hoping a couple of things. One, that LeBron, who's played better since he took about a week or so off, can turn the clock back yet again. And not just be the best 40-year-old in NBA history, but be one of the best players in the NBA on a consistent basis. And you're hoping that the Lakers aren't done making moves. They still have a couple of first-round picks that they can use to land another difference maker. It's likely to cost them Rui Hachimura or possibly Austin Reeves, but if the reports are accurate that the front office is committed to going for it one last time to try to get one more ring for LeBron with AD, they're going to need to stay aggressive because this move likely wasn't enough. Let me know in the comments if you think the Lakers are done making trades and if this was enough to get them over the hump in the Western Conference.